Hello, my name is Reagan Hill, and today we are going to be interviewing Mayor Shane McFarland. Hello.
My pleasure to be here. I've been excited about this all day.
I have as well.
Good.
So we're just going to go straight into it. So my first question for you is, what led you to run to be mayor?
You know, I think going all the way back to when I was in high school, my mom and dad always told me that if you're going to complain, you need to do something, not just complain. So in other words, if you find a problem, don't complain about the problem. You need to find a solution. I ran and I was my student body president in high school. And then I came down and went to MTSU, and I was the student body president at MTSU. And then got interested and was on the planning commission here in the city, and then was a council member for 8 years, and then I ran for mayor and got elected. So I've always been involved.
Wow, that's a lot.
You know, I've enjoyed being mayor, but it's a lot tougher than what I thought it was going to be.
Awesome. So my second question for you is, how did it feel to become the youngest mayor of Murfreesboro?
At the time, I really didn't think about it until I got the night that I was elected. Someone came up who was sort of a historian and said, "Hey, you do know that you're the youngest mayor in the history of Murfreesboro." And at the time, you know, I didn't think that much about it, but I guess it was just, it's really where we are, I think, as a community, that I'm one of the first mayors that I can remember that I still work every single day, and I have 3 boys, 2 17-year-olds and an 8-year-old. So like my 8-year-old and really my 17-year-olds, I was in a planning commission meeting, or we had planning commission meeting when they flashed up the picture of my newborn boys 17 years ago. So all my boys have never really known anything different besides me being involved in city government. And so I think that's one of the things that has been good, is raising kids as a mayor gives me a different perspective on a growing community.
Wow. What else do you do besides being mayor of Murfreesboro?
Well, you know, the mayor is a part-time job. We have what's called a council city manager form of government. We have a city manager that runs all the day-to-day operations. I would equate it to, if you put it in the perspective of a school, we have a school superintendent, which is like the mayor, and then you've got the principal of the school as the city manager. So the city manager runs all the day-to-day stuff, but the superintendent is still involved. But in my free time, I help coach my 8-year-old boys baseball team and basketball team. I'm always on the soccer field or the basketball court. Last night my 17-year-olds are playing soccer. So I love doing that. And what I do for fun, I'm actually learning to be a pilot.
So you said you went to MTSU. What organizations did you do there while you were in college there?
I was in a fraternity. The funny thing that not many people know is I have a twin brother. I have an identical twin brother. His name is Sean. And we both went to MTSU together, so we were always involved in different organizations. But student government, we were in the same fraternity, and I mean, really, those were the main 2 things that we were involved in. And the funny thing is, I have, you know, having twins, or being a twin, I'm also have twins. And Luke and Eli, my 17-year-olds, are identical twin boys. But they have different birthdays. Eli was born January 24th. At 10:22 at night, and Luke was born January 25th at 1:17 in the morning.
Oh, wow. So you have a twin, but your sons are also twins.
Yeah, they're identical twins as well. It's pretty cool that Sean and I mean, like, we shared a car together when we came to college. We shared a car, we shared a dorm room, but I shared a birthday. But my twin boys, it's pretty cool that they have their own birthday. So it's fun that we get to celebrate Eli one day, and then we get to celebrate Luke one day, as opposed to it just being together. It's pretty fun.
In what ways has being a part of those organizations strengthened your career?
I think any organization that you're involved in, you learn more and more about things that you may want to do, or you take away from from things that are in the organization. People ask me, what's the best thing that you can learn? And I will typically say it's to hang around people who are a lot smarter than I am, because you can see, if there's someone who's super successful and you hang around them, you learn what's made them successful. And as you're going through, obviously you've hung around somebody really good who's taught you how to interview, because you're like a pro as you're doing this. You want to be able to find people that you gravitate, that you can learn things, and that's who you want to hang around. And it's the better people that you hang around, the better you make yourself. And I've really been fortunate, not just in the different organizations that I've been a part of, but when you surround yourself with good people who want you to do good things, then it helps you a whole lot as you go down that path. So I think all the organizations I've been part of, I try to learn something from the different people in those groups.
One, wow. Two, wow. Three, we should get to the next question.
All right.
If you could give someone my age advice about politics, what would you say?
That's a great question. I would tell you that you can get way more accomplished by building people up as opposed to tearing them down. And over the last many years, the most significant thing that's changed in politics has been social media, because it's so easy, as you and I are sitting and talking, if you and I disagree on something, we can come to a compromise that you can have your beliefs and I can have my beliefs, and we can all still agree that Murfreesboro is a great place to live, and then we can go do something else, right? On social media, and a lot of the people on the national side and even the state level to some extent, they're all more about what can I say to make someone look bad, or what can I say to tear someone down, as opposed to really working together. So the thing that I would tell you, if you're wanting to get involved in politics, it all has to start with us taking ownership and doing the right thing, not what maybe politically makes the best sense. And so with that, I think it means that understanding that we're not all alike, we're not all the same, we all have differing opinions, we come from different backgrounds, we come from different families, and trying to understand each other is a whole lot better than trying to tear each other down.
Well, thank you so much for having me interview. I'm afraid that's all the time we have now. It has been very good and very inspirational to sit here and talk with you.
I'm so proud of what you've learned working with our city TV, and most of all, I didn't know what to expect as we were going to go through the interview, but man, you were awesome. So we may want to go ahead and sign you up, that when you graduate college, that we may go ahead and have you signed up to come on our team. How's that?
I mean, I'm open for it.
All right, I'm in.
I'm Reagan Hill, and thank you so much for watching.
Hello, I'm Sydney Randall, and today I'm at the Earth Experience Museum. Today we're going to learn about all the cool things that happen here. Come join me. Good afternoon, I'm Sydney Randall at Earth Experience Museum. Today to tell us all about this wonderful museum is Mr. Allen. Hello, thank you for joining us today.
Glad to be here.
I wanted to ask you, how long has this museum been open?
The museum opened in September of 2014, so we've been open a little over 6 years now.
That's cool. Have you worked here the whole time?
Yeah, I helped start the museum. There were two of us, Mr. Lewis Elrod and I, who came together and decided that we wanted to start a museum. I was more of a fossil collector guy, and he was more of a mineral collector. And so we pooled all of our stuff and we opened a museum.
Does he still work you?
Unfortunately, shortly after the museum opened, Mr. Lewis got sick and he passed away about 4 years ago.
That is very sad. My next question for you is, what's your role here?
Well, because it's pretty much just me now, I do just about everything. I'm the museum director. I am also, I guess, would be considered the curator, the person who's kind of in charge of all of the stuff we have on display. I set up the displays, I run the cash register, I do cleaning, I do maintenance. If there's a job at the museum, I'm probably doing it.
What can you find on display in the museum?
Well, we have fossils, including dinosaur bones from Montana and local fossils from here in Tennessee. We have fossils also from all over the world, places like Madagascar and Africa and Russia. We have minerals from all over the world, shiny crystals, including things like we have some diamonds and some emeralds and some rubies and other minerals from places. And then we have a lot of minerals from right here in Tennessee too. There's a lot of minerals to be found here. There's a world famous mineral collecting place called the Elmwood Mine where they have these beautiful purple fluorite crystals and these amber colored calcite crystals, and mineral collectors all over the world are excited about those crystals that come from the Elmwood Mine.
Does this museum have any camps, clubs, or classes?
Well, we would love to do camps. We just don't quite have enough room for them right now. Hopefully someday we can get a bigger location and then we can start running some summer camps and other things. We do have a club. It is the Middle Tennessee Gem and Mineral Society, and they meet here once a month, and it's a lot of people who collect rocks and minerals and also people who make jewelry.
Very cool. Speaking of how big the museum is, how big is it?
Well, our museum now is about 5,000 square feet, which is pretty big when you compare it to, say, somebody's house. But as far as museums go, that's really tiny. We could easily fill up 25,000 square feet, 50,000 square feet, especially with dinosaurs. They take up a lot of room.
Are you the only one who does the molds and casts?
No, we have a pretty good crew of volunteers here at the museum as well. I think currently we probably have about 10 to 12 volunteers here, and a lot of them do the molding and casting. We have other volunteers who like to work in the gift shop and make sure all of the stuff for sale is out and run the cash register. And then we have other people who like to give tours and talk about some of the things we have here at the museum.
Speaking of the gift shop, what kind of things do you sell there?
Well, we sell a lot of stuff related to dinosaurs and a lot of stuff related to minerals and rocks. A lot of the stuff we have in our gift shop, you can't find at any other store.
What kind of fossils and minerals can you find here in Tennessee?
Well, right here in Middle Tennessee, there are lots of fossils that you can find. Almost all of the rocks here in Middle Tennessee are limestone, and limestone forms on the bottom of a sea, something like an ocean or a shallow sea. And so there are things like corals. A lot of people are surprised when they find out that there are coral fossils right here in Middle Tennessee, and other things that lived in the ocean, clams and snails and things that are kind of related to squids and all kinds of interesting marine fossils. And the other cool thing about the fossils here in Middle Tennessee is just how old they are. They're over 450 million years old.
Where's the best place to fossil hunt in Tennessee?
Well, probably the best place to start fossil hunting is in your backyard, because there's so much rock here exposed. I've found fossils in my backyard. I've got a pretty big backyard, and I just go out and wherever there's rocks, I'll just start looking at the rocks and sometimes flip them over and look on the bottom side of those rocks. But yeah, anywhere there is rock exposed here in Middle Tennessee is a good place to start looking for fossils because the rocks here are just full of them.
How can the community help here at the museum?
There's lots of ways the community can help. Probably the easiest thing is just come visit the museum and see all of the great things we have on display here. If you are really excited and you love this kind of stuff, you can come and volunteer at the museum. We have lots of volunteer opportunities. People can work in the molding and casting. They can help give tours. They can work in the gift shop. Hopefully someday soon we'll even be able to start jewelry making here at the museum again. We were doing it before, but we had to stop that because of COVID, and we're hoping that that can get picked up again here in the near future. other things that they can do. If they are part of a big corporation or work for the government, they can try and help get us funding here for the museum. If we had the space, we could fill up 5 times the space we have right now with things that we just have that we can't fit and put on display. We're out of room here at the museum. And other things, there's always other things that can just tell everybody else you know about this museum. You know, we haven't had a lot of advertising, so word of mouth is the best way that people can find out about it. So once you've heard about the museum, tell other people about the museum.
What is the most important thing you want people to know about the museum?
I think probably the most important thing about the museum is museums like this are what encourage science. And science is critically important. And you don't realize how much science is in just your everyday life. And for me, a museum like this is what got me interested in science in the first place. And there is a shortage of scientists out there. There's always going to be a shortage of people who are going into the sciences. And anybody can do science. It's not as hard as people think it is. And it's just a wonderful thing. I still remember when my first geology class, they started explaining stuff and it just made so much sense to me. And I just started to understand how the world works. And it really got me excited. And I think we need more people excited about science, and that's what this museum can do.
Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for watching. I'm Sydney Randall.
Hi, my name is Molly Hicks, and today we're here at Adams Tennis Complex to learn about all of the amazing things they do here. Joining us, we have Gary Arbit. Hi, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So what is your role here at Adams Tennis Complex?
I am a facility superintendent, and basically I manage the day-to-day operations, manage the staff, just make sure, honestly, that the doors get open and they get closed at night.
Wow. So do you need a membership to use any court here?
You do not. You can come in if you don't have a membership. There is a daily fee to be able to utilize the facility if you're not a member.
Awesome. What are the benefits to being a member?
Probably the biggest benefit we have, Molly, is that you're able to book a court 10 days out if you're a member. If you're not a member, you can only book one 3 days out. So that's a big advantage for the members to get the indoor court space. Also, as a member, you have use to some other amenities in the facility like our cardio room, and you also are able to book a court for free if it's 24 hours before you're going to show up.
Wow, okay. So what is the process of reserving a court? I know you said that you have, if you're not a member, you have 3 days, and if you are a member, you have 10, but what does it look like trying to reserve a court?
Well, you have 3 options. You can go online and book a court, you can come to the facility and book a court, or you can call us and book a court.
Wow, okay. So can any of our schools use the facility here for team practice?
We do have some schools that are members. The schools are just like the general public. If they buy a membership, they'll get the same benefits. Otherwise, the schools can utilize the courts, but they would be charged the guest fees.
Yeah. How much does it cost to reserve a court as a member versus a non-member?
Good question. As a member, you pay $12 an hour, and as a non-member, you pay $15 an hour.
Why do you think that tennis complexes like Adams are important to our community?
I think the biggest benefit of the Adams Tennis Complex is to promote tennis for the community. We obviously want to promote tennis for the very young so that we can have them come in and play tennis at our facility. And tennis is a lifetime sport. It's something you can play at 4 years old or 85 years old.
Do you offer rentals of tennis rackets and tennis balls, or do people need to provide their own?
People can use their own, or they can come here and borrow tennis balls and tennis rackets, and we will let them use them at no cost.
So what if you've never played tennis before? Can you come and start here?
Oh, absolutely. We would love beginning tennis players. We have a lot of programs for beginners, clinics and classes, and this is a great place for them to start.
Thank you so much, Gary, for joining us today.
Thank you, Molly, for having us.
Hi, I'm here with John Chris, tennis pro here at Adams Tennis Complex. I was wondering, what is your role here?
Well, as the head tennis pro for the city of Murfreesboro, I'm in charge of developing programming for all our tennis activities and also coaching players. So it's a lot to keep me busy.
Yeah. What does your programming look like here?
So we have an extensive schedule of junior clinics for kids that we run from August through May, and then in the summer months, June and July, we run summer tennis camps for kids. And then we also have 6 pros in addition to myself that teach private lessons and group lessons for juniors and adults. And we run tournaments and other special events. So a lot of activities going on here at the tennis complex.
How do you sign up for tennis lessons?
Well, it's pretty simple. You just have to call the tennis complex and let us know that you're interested in lessons. The next step is probably coordinating through me so I can find out when you're available for a lesson, and then connect with our 6 pros to see who's got time available that might suit your schedule.
Wow. Is there like a specific age it's best for someone to start taking tennis lessons?
You know, really you can start at any age. I've taught tennis for a long time. My youngest student was 3 years old, and my oldest student was 93 years old. So it's truly a lifetime sport, and you can start any time.
So I am a beginner, and I was wondering if you could show me how to play tennis.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
We got a racket here,
Okay,
and we'll give you a few pointers.
Okay. So how do I hold the tennis racket? Is there a specific way?
Sure. So the best way to learn how to hold a tennis racket is if you hold it in your non-dominant hand. So are you right-handed?
I'm left-handed.
Oh, you're a lefty?
No, I'm right-handed.
You're a righty?
Yes,
Okay. So if you're right-handed, you want to hold it with your left hand, and then you want to put your right hand on the strings and put the end of the racket kind of right on your belly, and you're just going to slide your hand down the handle until you shake hands with the racket, and that's pretty much a good grip for your forehand. So that's a good starting point.
Okay.
And then as we go through learning the different strokes, there's also a little bit different grip you use for your backhand swing, and also different grips you use for volleying and serving.
Okay, so everything you just said, all of those like serves you just said, how do you do any of them?
Well, let's get some balls out and give it a try. What do you say?
Okay.
So the first thing I usually have students do if they're beginners is just kind of get a feel for the racket and the ball. So I have them dribble. So they just take a ball and practice dribbling the ball on the ground. I'm going to have you try that.
Okay.
So it just takes a little practice, and the biggest thing you're doing when you dribble the ball is you're trying to coordinate your hand to the racket face and get a feel for the fact that when your hand moves, it moves the face of the racket, and that's how you're going to control the ball. So, and you want to try and hold the racket down near the end of the handle, all right? And so anytime you're trying to find your grips, when you grip the racket, you want to wrap your thumb all the way around the grip, kind of between your first 2 fingers, yeah? And you're going to reference your grip position by where this knuckle is on the handle. So you can see there's edges around the racket handle. It's actually an octagon, so there's 8 sides, and we number the sides, and then where that knuckle is, which panel that's on, determines which grip exactly you have. So right now your knuckle's on panel 3, and that would be what we call an Eastern forehand grip.
Okay, is that a good thing?
That's a good grip. So let's try that grip and try dribbling down again.
Okay.
Okay, so now the next exercise we're going to try is going to be up dribbling, all right? So we're going to do easy up dribbles first. So we're going to shake hands with the racket, and then we're going to turn the racket horizontal like this, palm to the sky, and then we're just going to toss the ball up, let it bounce, bump it up, let it bounce, bump it up, let it bounce, bump it up. You try.
Okay. So
Yeah, toss it up, bounce it up, try it again.
Okay. Is there a specific spot I'm supposed to be hitting on?
You're trying to hit it right in the center
center
of the strings. This time I want you to let it bounce first and then try to bump it into the air.
Okay.
That's it. Let's try it one
What's the
more.
difference between hitting in the middle and on the outsides?
So great question. So every racket has what we call a sweet spot. and that's basically the center of your string bed, maybe slightly above the center of the string bed.
Okay.
And so that's why that's where we're trying to make contact with the ball most of the time. But every player who plays, I don't care how good they are, they're always going to miss-hit some balls around the edge of the frame, so nothing to be ashamed of.
Okay.
Even the best players do that sometimes.
Okay.
Try one more time. That's it. So once you get really good at doing your easy up dribbles, then you can try every time up dribbles. And if you get really good at that, then you can try flip-flop dribbles. And then you can get really good at that. You can try spinning the ball. So there's lots of different exercises you can do that acquaint you and your hand to the racket and controlling the ball.
Okay.
Okay, Molly, how about I teach you how to make the forehand swing?
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Okay, I've got a stroke trainer here.
Okay.
And I'm going to set it up for you. I'll put it right here.
Okay.
All right. Now, I want you to stand where you have comfortable space between you and the stroke trainer, and let's make sure your feet are both behind this white line, like mine are. Okay. And then let's reach out with your hand on the racket, hold all the way down the end, and let's find out what the right distance away from the ball is. So you think you're a little bit close, get a little bit further away. That's it. So when you make contact with the ball, you want to have plenty of room to swing.
Okay.
All right. And we're going to start the swing with our racket about here, and we want our swing to be like a roller coaster. All right.
Okay.
So we're going to go down and below the ball, and we're going to brush up, and we're going to swing all the way through and finish over
here?
your shoulder right
Okay.
here.
Is
all
there,
right?
where do I put all the power when I swing?
So you want your arm to stay relaxed, and you want to get your power from your legs. So you're going to bend your knees and try to turn your hips and shoulders a little bit as you swing. And the main thing, the number one rule in tennis is keep your eye on the ball. All right. So this little training device is called the Eye Coach, and there's a little logo right there. It's going to remind you to keep your eye on the ball all the way through your swing. All right.
Okay.
So I'm going to
What
demonstrate
do I need
once.
to do with my left hand?
Your left hand's just going to be there to help you balance. All right, so I'm going to make a swing once, and then I'll let you do it. All right.
Okay.
So stand up, get the right space between you and the swing and the stroke trainer. All right. So we're going to be here, and I'm going to drop my racket and go under and brush up and finish over my shoulder. Let's
Okay.
you try it. That's great. Do it again, and we're going to brush all the way out and over your shoulder. All right. You're on your way to being a tennis star.
Thank you so much.
Well, thanks for coming out today, and I hope you'll come back.
John, thank you so much for teaching me how to use a tennis racket and a tennis ball. I had so much fun. I'm Molly Hicks. Thank you for watching.